Havana Cuba, one of those great bucket list destinations for people who love exotic travel and music, like in the case of Glenn Williams, a just retired Chicago music teacher who is combining his passion for music, travel, and giving back to help mentor Cuban musicians.
Mike, it's absolutely surreal. And the whole experience for me, I'm still pinching myself.
Welcome to Nextracks, a user's guide for the 50 plus, navigating this new life stage, formerly known as retirement. I'm former ABC and PBS News correspondent Mike Cerre, in search of the most inspiring and revealing transition stories to help me and others who aren't quite done yet figure out what we're going to do when we finally grow up. Hey, Glenn, this ain't Chicago.
Hey, this is not Chicago. The 100-degree difference I had on my travel day will tell you that, yeah.
But Glenn, it seems like you kind of figured it out. You've been able to combine your passions, music and travel, to a nice little unretirement gig.
Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude, Mike, for what music has brought me and travel. So getting to know people through music, getting to know cultures through music, it just deepens the human experience. And I'm just extremely grateful for that.
Now, how'd you figure it out? What was it, the passion for music or the passion for travel that brought this all together?
Fundamentally a passion for people, and then the music and the travel kind of flowed out of that.
You retired after 33 years as a music education teacher. Did you start planning? Did you have a grand plan, or did this kind of be somewhat spontaneous?
No, I wish I could say there was a 30-year arc, but there's not. The school district I work for had a relationship with a school near Stuttgart, Germany. So I took a jazz band internationally twice, and each tour would be 7 cities, France, Germany, Denmark. And the depth of the relationship you can make when you're staying in someone's home, even for 3 or 4 days, it's significant.
How sustainable is it? Now, in other words, so you've done maybe 3 or 4 of these, you'd like to do some more. This is kind of a cheap way to travel. They're paying for all your expenses here to mentor the Cuban musicians. Can you make it a sustainable second career, third career?
You know, I don't think of it like a career. I stopped working as a school arts administrator and music teacher, but I just continue the work in different layers. So these opportunities tend to flow your way. And the benefit of being semi-retired is now I have nothing that can cap me from saying yes. Like, I don't have to say, no, I have to do this, no, I have to do this. I can say, sure, that sounds great.
You're ready to roll.
I'd love to, yeah.
You can roll.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Tell me about mentoring these Cuban musicians. First off, when you come to a place like Cuba, you hear music everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is really part of the fabric of life here. Have you always had that sense of how important music is to this culture?
Music is part of the DNA. It's part of the fabric of who they are. These people sing, these people dance. They feel the music, I believe, in their souls. And that is part of what makes the exchange special.
Communications, they say music's the international language. But even still, you're trying to talk to some of these younger musicians. How difficult is it without speaking the language?
Well, there's challenges, but with creativity, they can be overcome. We can communicate with our face. I had my trombone. Sometimes you can communicate musical things through playing the examples. Did a lot of singing.
At one point in the training, you looked to a trombone player and you said, he was probably about 18 years old, and you said, I need it more ratty. I need it more some ratty blues.
Yes.
What's the translation for ratty blues in Cuban?
Well, I could ask you what's the translation for that in English, right? Emotion and meaning would be the institutional phrase. Soul, cherry juice, fire, fuego,
Fuego.
Whatever you want to call it.
Tell me about last night, just walking down the streets, having a nice meal, being with other musicians and teachers, and then going on a rooftop to hear a concert.
Yeah, Mike, it's absolutely surreal. And The whole experience for me, I'm still pinching myself, and I'm good at consolidating things and synthesis, but I have to say, a thing that makes this tour extremely special is being on it with two former students, one who's the executive director of CAIO and an amazing musician and human being, and whose impulse of will has forged these connections with Cuban artists. I'm feeling all the feels. The emotions are very, very strong because I just see the situation in terms of resources, and I see what these human beings have to accomplish every day just to do tasks that would be simple for me.
You said you almost had to pinch yourself.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be retired or unretired in your case after 33 years of
semi-retired.
Yeah. But after checking out of the day-to-day routine, do you ever sit back when you're in a situation like this and say, I'm a free bird here now. I can do what I want to do. I can follow my passions?
You know, that's part of the beauty of where I am in life right now, and that's part of the sheer terror. Right? Because we have a daily structure and we thrive in that, we live on that, and now I have to figure out what that structure is and what that pathway is. And it's almost, there's an author I like, and she calls it the liminal space, standing in the threshold, right? So trying to figure out where you are before you move into that next step like that.
I'm asking these questions now saying, geez, you look like you scored. You look like you figured it out.
Oh.
What about people who are trying to figure it out? What advice do you have to them as they start kind of charting what's next for them?
And for me, it's a balance of managing the tension between being patient and then actually walking toward things. So waiting for things to come, waiting for things to happen, but then also having the courage, I think, to step forward and try and experience things.
How much of this can you do as a couple? You know, you talk to a lot of people who go off on a new direction. They say, well, it's only sustainable if my partner is with me on this. How does your partner fit into this?
Thank you for asking. My wife loves to travel. She loves culture. And I've done these trips with her, and I've done them without her. And I love the ones with her much better. She is still working, and given where this fell in the calendar, she was unable to join us. It was a very hard decision. Like literally, I almost thought about not coming because she couldn't come yet. We're that tight. But our relationship's also strong enough where she says, you know, you should go, you need to do this, have a great time and all that.
What's it like for Glenn Williams out of Chicago tooling down the Malecon in an old American car?
Well, first off, it's warm. But yeah, it's surreal. I was doing it and I couldn't believe I was doing it. Just loving the sounds, the smells, the feel of the wind. If I had hair, with, you know, going through my hair.
And that feeling, was that a Cuba Libre feeling? Or was that a Glenn Williams Libre feeling?
Yeah, you know, a little bit of both, but just being able to experience the sounds, the sights, the smells, the wind. The experience is what develops the understanding, I think.
Glenn, thank you for sharing your adventure with us and teaching us a little bit more about the music.
Oh, Mike, thanks for this opportunity. A great thing about it is I myself am still learning, and that perhaps is one of the best things, right? That never stops. It just keeps going and going.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. I hope you'll subscribe to our podcast, check out our videos, resources, and related news stories, and send us your Nextracks stories to our website, www.nextracks.tv.